back on Salford soil. Well, it brings back memories, this. Literally all these estates. We've got Milford Street where we've got 2 Airbnbs, Lutwood Street where we've got an Airbnb, and then we've got Whitburn Street where we've got an Airbnb there. It's where me and Kieran just spent all of our time, just on these streets, setting up the units. And now, we've actually just sourced a property on this street for one of our clients, one of our investors. So with this property, it's actually off market, so not for an estate agent. We've secured it at a really good price, and it actually doesn't need too much work. It's just a light refurb, light renovation, and then we're going to come in, furnish the place, kit it out, get it staged, get it decorated, and then ready for Airbnb. Bit of a different one, this one. We usually source your standard buy-to-lets, get the tenants in there, but with this one, the investor just wants to improve his cash flow on this property. And because we've got properties on multiple streets, we know exactly how the property will perform if staged correctly. So that's why within the Evolve group, we've got Evolve Property Acquisitions, where we've actually sourced this property for the investor, and we'll speak about that a bit more. And then Evolve Stays, where we're going to manage it on the back end to end, hands off for the investor, and hopefully generate some really strong returns. So let's have a look.
We've had a great relationship with the seller, and that's why even just giving her flowers, it's not much, it's a gesture. You go to the shop, stop on the way here, and you pick up a little gift, but it's the thought, it's a nice gesture of good business. So we're having a walk through this property we've just sourced for an investor. This is a BRR to SA in Salford. We've just got the keys today actually, so we're gonna have a little walk around, talk through some numbers. Kieran here on the Evolve Stay side is going to be staging this and running it as an Airbnb. So we'll talk through some of the numbers on that. And I mean, Salford, I think it's going to do great. It's a, 4-bed property?
4-bed, double rooms.
Yeah. It's
massive.
We'll walk through, it's a massive property. It needs a refurb. We're going to add some value to it, and we'll show you through now, a little before, and then we'll do an after, hopefully in the next few months.
Let's do it. So, we can present it to the investor and see what he wants. I'd personally recommend just having this as a living space, of a communal space, rather than a 5th bedroom. Because this property is so big, you'll see shortly, we could potentially turn this into a bedroom. We've done that with a few properties in Salford. For example, one we've got literally around the corner, it's a 2-bedroom technically, but it's had 2 massive reception rooms. So we've moved that second living area into a bedroom, because that was going to generate higher returns. But on a property like this, we're a bit unsure, because it's already massive.
Well, that's the thing, and it would be great for as a front room, reception room, isn't it? Like I said, I think it depends on, it's always, we can go to that if it requires that at the time. If you want to add that bed in here and turn it into a bedroom, I think for now we can use it as for what it is. It's a massive room, really high ceilings.
Yeah.
So I think give it a redecoration. It's going to have carpets throughout the property, painting throughout the property, cosmetic work, snagging here and there. Yeah. Maybe some new floor in the kitchen and stuff, and painting, bring it up to standard. And then Evolve on the side. Bex will do a great job at staging this property, and we'll get it ready for the SA market. But
yeah, she's going to love this.
Yeah, she will. She'll do bits with this, won't she?
Yeah.
I think this was a HMO as well, so it's a licensed HMO.
You can see
so
it.
For the so it's got the fire doors in it. We'll actually get the fire alarms. Make sure they're all checked and working before. So basically, the investor has options. We're going in with the intent of BRR to SA, but it's always good when you take on an investment. If you've got multiple exit options, stuff you can do with it, then that's always the safest and most secure route to way to placing money.
So in here, we've got 2 options. This could either be the living space, so if we turn that into a 5th bedroom, don't think we will do, this could be the communal space. But the only thing is, because every single bedroom in here is a double, and if we did get a sofa bed in here, the property would technically sleep 12. There's no way we're fitting 12 in here. I think it would just reduce the quality of stay, potential bad reviews. So in my opinion, I think we'd have that as a living area. You could technically knock this wall down, but I'm not sure if we've got the budget for it. Have that as the living area. And what we're doing here is have it as a big dining space, maybe put a couch here as well, so we can get a pool dining table, just to improve the guest experience. Just adding more amenities to the property that will improve the nightly rates. So I think that's what we'll do.
I suppose just more bedrooms doesn't always equate to high nightly rate or better stays, does it?
No.
That's the thing. This is where you get someone expert who knows what they're talking about with this, because it's not always about putting as many bedrooms as you can and sleep as many people, because like Kieran said, it's going to be too crowded. Yeah. And the guest experience isn't going to be as strong.
But where they're going to, you got to think like practically, where they're going to eat. If there's 12 people staying here, you're going to have to get 2 massive couches. You couldn't get a sofa bed. And you'd have to have like trays to eat on. Yeah. It's just not going to be a good stay, because the target market for a property like this, primarily Monday to Friday, is going to be your contractors. So realistically, we'll probably have max 4 to 5, because contractors don't necessarily share rooms anymore. So like a bedroom each. But on the weekends, this is where you'll start getting your group staying. So they're coming here for events, park life, football, for example, and they'll just cram as many people in here as they can just to save money. So I think that needs to be a living room.
Definitely. I mean, that's the great thing about Salford, though, isn't it? In Manchester in general, you've got people coming here for all types of reasons.
Yeah.
Contracted, but the amount of foot traffic and people you can have coming here just for the weekends as well.
Yeah. Salford, contractors, Monday to Friday, a lot of working professionals. You'll get people, because you've literally got, I'm not sure if you can see it from here, you can't see it because the houses are massive, but you've got Media City, like 15-minute walk away. So we will get people working at the BBC, for example, people working at ITV, people working at Old Trafford, all staying in this property. So we'll get a mix of the working professionals that are working in Media City, working in Manchester, but also contractors that are working on all the developments in the area.
That's a whole different group of people.
I wouldn't say they're better. They're both just as good. It's just different markets. But what you want to do when you are taking on a property, you want it to appeal to all markets. If you appeal to all markets, you're boosting your chances of securing the high rates and getting the property booked out. We love the contractors because they look after the property. They don't pay as much as leisure guests, but it's just nice and consistent revenue. Whereas a leisure guest, people don't like them. I do, because we've got the vetting process. They pay just ridiculous rates. Yeah. So this will go for £250, £300 a night. In summer, this will go for like £500 a night on the weekends. So we still want to get that revenue in. It doesn't make a difference to the investor because we handle everything end to end anyway. So even if there are problematic guests in here, regardless if they're problematic or they're solid guests that are behaving, doesn't make a difference to the investor because at Evolve Stays, we just handle the whole thing end to end. All the guest comms, all the cleaning, the maintenance, the pricing, the check-ins, the check-outs, everything end-to-end in terms of running an Airbnb will be completely covered to the investor. So it seems like we'll source this property completely hands-off, and then we'll manage it on the back end as well, completely hands-off.
No, I think this investor is from down south.
Yeah.
So this investor came to us, bought a few off-plan, didn't he? Bought a few off-plan. I think he's got a few apartments, and he came to us, he's got this cash, and he wanted to put his money into freehold properties. And again, at Evolve Stays, it's the whole end-to-end process. So he's got some buy-to-lets, I think he has as well, and he wanted some higher cash flowing properties, and he's got a bigger budget. So this isn't, some investors come to us with, they have that 40k, 50k mark, we can get a very solid BRR buy to let in Yorkshire, but he's got a bit of a bigger budget. So with that, when we can look at these strategies like BRR to SA, this will be netting him £1,500 a month, maybe a bit more, because we were more conservative on the numbers. So I put the nightly rate as a bit lower. Speaking to Kieran here, because of the size of it, location area, this actually might be more than we thought. So he's going to be netting much more on this than he would have standard buy to let. Again, he's got the bigger budget, but he's come to us for the whole service. So we've got the keys today. We're going to get this refurbs. Hopefully this should take no more than a couple of months. It's not too big of a job. Yeah. We have the staging as well, so hopefully we can kind of get that running concurrently and get it ready and get it listed and making money as soon as possible. But
so when you say net £1,500 a month, is that net profit or?
That's net profit. So that's after everything. That's after the mortgage payments, after the insurance, after the management fee. Yeah. That's him taking home. So he's going to refinance this, pull out a good amount of money. He's paid off the money's left in the property. That's going to be paid off within, I think it was 4 years.
Cool.
And then after that, again, that's literally profit to him. He can sit with the property. He's got an asset as well that's appreciating year on year, and he's got a high cash flowing asset here because it's BRR to SA, not your typical buy to let. And with the new rent reform, Kieran will say it's a great time at the moment to get these SAs and really run them properly, because he's going to have more rights to the property than he would have done standard AST and generating great income for him. So yeah.
Renting via short-term lets isn't necessarily always better than traditional tenancies. However, I'd say that most of the time it is, and it just depends on the landlord's pain points and the motivations behind it in the first place. If it's purely financial, a lot of the time it does work, but usually the smaller properties, the margins are a little bit tight, so they might be better off on ASTs. But a lot of the landlords that are now coming into Evolve Stays, they've got completely different motivations, because you've got the change in legislation, you've got new Section 21 rules that are happening this month. Now traditional tenancies are going on to monthly rolling contracts. So from an investor standpoint, they're just not protected, the income's not guaranteed, tenants are getting more rights. So whereas short-term lets, it just removes that risk completely. They'll get consistent cash flow. There'll be ups and downs, but that's part of the game. They'll consistently earn more than what they get on a standard rental, and the tenants that are in here via short-term don't get the same rights.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the thing we love about this one as well is that the investor owns this asset. He owns this property. So you guys manage a lot of landlords who own the properties. People like the idea of rent to rent. But this investor's come to us, he owns this. So he's got that capital appreciation. He owns an asset in Manchester, in Salford, which is a great area. And these guys are going to do a great job increasing the cash flow for him. So, I mean, I love the idea of the strategy. If I had the money to spend, I might try it myself.
Yeah,
maybe not yet.
Usually the only reasons landlords would exit is usually when they're selling the properties. So if this investor wants to sell it in 3 to 5 years, he'll have all his money back out the investment by then, make a solid profit. That's really the only reason landlords would exit, unless they want to use the property for personal use. That's another benefit of doing short-term rentals. You know, if, for example, this investor wanted to use this property himself while he's travelling to Manchester, family, friends, he can simply block out the calendar and use it. So again, that's not the flexibility that you get on a standard rental as well. So they're the two main reasons. Some landlords want to go back to traditional tenancies. We're not seeing that much at all now because of the new rules, mainly due to the selling the property or they just want to use it themselves.
Again, as you can probably tell, we're going to add a few bits to the kitchen because they ain't quite ready for guests to stay in. But I think this is going to have a little redecoration here. I think we're going to do flooring in the kitchen as well. So I think this could do with a little refreshing up.
Yeah.
Again, Bex is going to come and do a great job of staging this, but I think it's in pretty good condition. Again, of course, it needs the cosmetic work and the painting the ceiling as well, but it's in good condition to do that. You get the new flooring in. I think it'll be fantastic.
Left some fridge and freezer for us.
Yeah, she's left that. That's not bad.
Brand new boiler.
Yeah,
well, not brand new.
What did she say? A year and a half old, I think that boiler is. So again, we're buying that. That's always a big cost when it comes to refurb. Some things we always check on these purchases, the electrics as well. So this has its ERCR certificates and its CP12 certificates as well.
Nice.
So this boiler, a year and a half old, so that could be anywhere from £3,000 to £5,000 up front on the refurb. We've saved that because this boiler is in good condition already. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna take a video around, send it over to our project manager. I'm meeting someone at the property on Tuesday, so it's Friday today. Meeting someone next Tuesday, we're gonna have a walk around, he's gonna do some measurements, get an idea of what we think the refurb's gonna be. We always get a few quotes to make sure we're getting the right price for our investor as well, getting the right work done, and we'll bounce a few ideas back and forth with the investor, because everything we do is with communication with the investor. We're not going to do anything without them giving us the green light. Yeah. So we'll bring this information back to them, kind of like a report saying this is what work we need to do for the property, this is what we think, what do you want to do? The investor might come to us and say they want a bit more done, and if they want to pay the money, that's absolutely fine. But we're giving them that choice. So I think we'll come back on Tuesday, get a really good idea, good measurements, get an idea on the refurb, a few quotes, we'll bring it to the investor and say, listen, this is what we think, what's your opinion, and then we'll get cracking. And hopefully, he's really easy to work with as well, this investor. I mean, you know as well, Kieran, he's super easy to work with, so this process should be very smooth. I think he'll agree with what we said, there might be some compromise here and there, he might want to add a few more things, and then you get to staging after the refurb. Yeah, nice. We've got the ensuite, haven't we, potentially? Exactly, so that's always something to look into. Yeah, if we get an ensuite in that fourth bedroom on the top floor, it's big enough. You said the neighbour next door, you can knock the wall back a little bit, and there is enough room for an ensuite. Yeah. And when it comes to short-term rentals, the more bathrooms, the better. Because if you think like our ICP for this property is more corporate and contractor stays, if you've got a big 4 or 5 bed house and you've got 1 or 2 bathrooms, it's not necessarily ideal. Like if you're a contractor, you're not necessarily going to want to share bathrooms with 3 other lads. You want your own privacy. So if we've got the budget for it, we'll present it to the investor. Look, this is how much it's going to cost for the ensuite in this room, but on the back end, this is what we can expect in terms of a nightly rate as well, because it probably will uplift it a fair bit. Well, that's what we'll look at. I was going to lead into that and say on our side and the sourcing side, we'll make sure as well, if we're adding that bathroom, how much is that going to cost to do, but also how much value we add in when it comes to sell. Yeah. So we make sure if we're adding value when it comes to sell and it's going to increase the ADR of the property, and this is something we're going to bring to the investor and say, maybe this is worth something seriously considering. Yeah. Because if it's benefiting in 2 different ways, when he sells and holding the asset and as the ADR and going to make him more money, it's definitely something worth looking at. Yeah. I guess ready guide out of all stays that we share with all of our landlords. When we are project managing, we've got our own checklist, we've got our own suppliers, we've got our own team. For example, my mum is the staging manager, so she'll either come here and physically stage herself, or she'll project manage it and get some other contacts that we work with to come in and do it. What we'll probably do, I'll take a video today, send it over to my mum so she can essentially price up the job, but we've got a good idea because we've got so many properties in this area that we've staged ourselves in-house, we understand how much it's going to cost. So we'll wait for the contractors to get the flooring in, get the walls painted, whitewashed, freshened up, and then we'll come in and stage it. Probably take us a week or so to get this up and running in terms of it from a staging point of view. It takes a week because we need to order everything in. It will take a good few days to, like day rates to do it as well. We've got to build everything, but all we're going to do is just copy and paste exactly what we've done in our other units in Salford. So we know exactly what this property is going to make once it's done. Like I said, we've got 4 properties. I think it's over there. So we've got Whitburn Street, Littlewood Street, and we've got 2 on Milford Street. There's 4 properties within a 30-second walk from this property that we've staged in-house. So we know exactly what this will achieve. So we're just going to copy and paste what we've done there. Potentially make some improvements if we can. There's growing demand for properties. There's a lot of new Airbnbs coming on the market, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're high quality Airbnbs. You've got a lot of landlords thinking that they can just go and do it themselves. They've not staged the property properly. They've not got their ICP in mind when they are decorating, and ultimately there's just a load of poor quality, averaged, unoptimised properties on the market. But of all stays, we take care of all that. We'll stage it to a high level.
we'll optimize the listing, we use dynamic pricing, and we integrate it with all of our calendars. So the property gets like maximum visibility in comparison to someone that's just trying to manage it themselves. So regardless if there's multiple properties in this area, we'll still be on page one. The guests will come to us first and we charge the premium rates.
I mean, I think that's why we're so confident on the sourcing side. When I source this and we present it to the investor, we have in-house guys that run the properties in Airbnb. We're so confident in the numbers. I was conservative on the nightly rate, and I always like to say I'd rather under-promise, over-deliver. But again, we've got primary data. Like Kieran said, we've got 4 properties within 30-second, few-minute walk from this area. So this is primary data, which is why I was confident bringing these numbers to the investor and saying this will perform well because we're already doing it. And like Kieran said, it's about quality. Even if there were other Airbnbs in the area, if they're not the right quality, they're not going to get the same bookings as the properties at Evolve. So this is why we're so confident with the investor on this one. Yeah, so I mean, I think with this one, this is an investor we've worked with on, we've got 3 more going through to legals as well. There are 2 might be used as BRR to SA again, another as a buy to let. This is an investor we're working with on a repeat basis. We're incentivized to do a good job. 1, it's business reputation. I mean, that's any business, not has to be property. Any business has a reputation. You want to do a good job for your clients, of course. 2 is the standards we hold for ourselves. Again, we're here to do a job with sourcing. The reason people pay for us is to 1, mitigate risk. 2 is we have the knowledge, the time, the expertise in finding these properties. That's the reason people come to us, give us their bespoke criteria, and we go out and find these properties because it's what we do. We spend all day doing it, putting offers in. We're finding properties based off people's criteria. And then again, we're getting it managed on the SA side, all in-house as well. So we're incentivized to do a good job because this is representation of Evolve.
Yeah.
This is end-to-end process. This whole ecosystem, these investors come to Evolve and we can handle anything they need.
Yeah.
So that leads into the Evolve Stays bit as well with you guys on the SA side.
For sure. So the way we charge at Evolve Stays, we don't charge a flat management fee. We don't charge a fixed fee per month. We purely charge on a commission basis. And these investors love that. They love the commission model because if for whatever reason, which we very strongly believe it won't happen, if the bookings were quite dry in 1 month, that means that we're not getting paid as well. And then vice versa, when the property performs really well, we get paid in return for that. So we're massively incentivized to maximize the returns for these investors because we get paid on the back end as well, in line with how much they make.
Yeah, 100%. And it reflects in the business as well. The same investor, we've just put one on hold, but he's looking to get another one with us as well.
Yeah.
Whilst we have another 3 going into legals, and we've just got the keys to this one. So I mean, people wouldn't come back to do business with us, and these guys wouldn't have 80 plus Airbnbs if we weren't doing a good job.
Yeah.
So I think that's the obvious reason.
Yeah. So these are all double rooms.
Just talk for him.
So it's a weird shape this, but we get a double bed there, just behind the door. I think it's important that we get double beds in every room, and then in here we can get a big storage area. I think you'll see why. She was explaining the previous landlord why this big like corner box here, because they kind of rebuilt it and put, rather than having 1 massive room at the end, they split it into 2 double rooms. So that's why it's a bit of an odd shape, but you can get a double bed there, bit of storage, probably get a TV on this wall as well. If we had a TV on every wall, contractors will much prefer that as well. They like just having time to unwind, the privacy. So, well, if you think of it from an occupancy standpoint, if you've got double beds in every single room, if you can occupy more people, you can justify charging more. With the amenities, Airbnb, Booking.com, all the OTAs, they rank based on a few factors, one of them being amenities that are on offer. So if your property's got, let's say, 10 amenities out of 100 that you can list on Airbnb, Airbnb are going to see that as an unoptimized property, one that's not necessarily looked after. So they're not going to rank you on page 1 and 2. That's where you want to be. So if we, for example, got a TV in every bedroom, we've got the shampoo, body wash, hand soap, conditioner, dishwasher tabs, the pool dining table, they're just amenities that you tick off in Airbnb, and Airbnb will reward you for that. So you can, again, not just via the occupancy, you can justify higher rates just by adding more amenities. Not necessarily. Like, for example, you get pick-up TVs pretty cheap, smart TVs, pool dining tables, 500 quid. So if we went to the Airbnb conference, which we're going next week, but last year's conference, the pool table, I think to be exact, it was like a 15% increase in your nightly rates. So if you're charging £100 a night, well, you're now £115. If you're at 75% occupancy, you're paying off the pool table within a month or 2.
Yeah,
so it's worth it. Again, it's an investment into the property long term. So if you are running Airbnbs, or you're a landlord and you want to turn your property into an Airbnb, you want to give it a go yourself, having more amenities will only serve you well in the long run, because you're going to be able to charge high nightly rates, improve the guest experience, get better reviews, and then ultimately rank higher on the platforms. We want people to walk in the property and just have everything they need.
and have a good experience as well. Now, as a host, I think it's crucial that you go above and beyond for your guests. So if the guests can walk in, you know, they can make themselves a coffee after work, they can have a game of pool with the lads after work as well if they're contractors, or they go to a concert at the MEN, come back, have a game of ping pong. You know, they've got everything they need for a solid stay. Then they see that as you going above and beyond, and in return you're going to get the good reviews. Again, going on to the higher nightly rates, rankings on Airbnb, it all just feeds into each other.
Yeah, I think this is all thought through. I think what Kieran's explaining is that everything we're adding to this property, whether it be on the refurb side, on the purchasing, or the service accommodation side, everything we're adding, we're making sure that it adds value in some way.
Yeah.
Either adding value to the property if the investor wants to sell at some point, increasing the GDV, or it's increasing the nightly rate. So everything we're adding to this property on both sides is going to be added for a reason. There's always a justification for everything to make sure we're increasing the numbers and maximising the cash flow and the output for the investor.
We've got this landlord next door, so we're doing a full renovation. You can see all the rubbish outside. Because we have a conversation with him, he's a pilot apparently.
Is it?
Yeah, we might have to knock on his door after.
It might be worth a door knock.
Yeah,
on the camera.
Because he's had bad experience with tenants. Look at all that crap that they've left.
Yeah, that don't know.
Get all that. This is the problem. Like tenants will just ruin your property. There's piles and piles and piles of bin bags there, probably 6 foot high. He's probably invested 200 grand into that property whenever he bought it. He's hard-earned money. He's putting tenants in there that are just not looking after the place. Now he's had to do a full refurb. So that's key data for me and key intel. I can go and knock on the door. If he's in, just have a chat, potentially put it on Airbnb, let them know what we're doing in this place, let them know what we're doing everywhere in Salford, because we've got about 40 in the area. I think it could be a great opportunity to just have a chat with him and see if he's open to exploring it. So yeah, we'll have a little knock after.
That's the type of landlord to go for, isn't it? Motivated
yeah,
landlord,
100%.
So,
like that is, look at all that. If you actually look at the ginnel there, about 5 foot deep.
I suppose as well that all this mess, whatever guests would leave as an Airbnb, you guys are managing that on the Evolve side. So
Yeah, the landlord won't have to do any of that.
it's being clean by you guys. You're making sure managing guest communication, so you wouldn't be putting up with this kind of stuff. How to do this refurb, it'd be managed by you guys.
Yeah, when we do speak with landlords, and you know, they've said to us like, oh, we've got great tenants. Like they know it's rare. It's rare to get a good tenant now that just looks after your property. Yeah. And you walk in, they've got pets. When you said no pets, it's like you smell of urine. It's like there's smoking in the property. Everything's just like the wear and tear is ridiculous. But whereas an Airbnb, because we've got constant turnover, constant cleaners coming in, they inspect the property, they touch up as and when needed, and it's just clean to a high standard professionally, at least once every 2 weeks. So you're not going to see any of that when you're running Airbnbs.
I mean, that's the thing, and I do a lot of viewings for these investment properties for the landlords that come to us, and you see a lot of these properties, these landlords that haven't maintained their property throughout the years, and they're the ones when they come to sell, they have to accept a lower price. They haven't maintained the property, they haven't looked after it. They have or they've got to spend a bunch of cash on refurb they don't want to do. So it's ultimately, if you're maintaining the property, like these guys will be on the Evolve side, running it as an SA, there's going to be less work to do down the line because you're maintaining it all the time. It's like anything in life, you keep looking after these things. Ultimately, it's an asset. You've got a business if you're a landlord, you're owning a business, you're holding these properties as an asset, as an investment, you have to look after it. And again, if you're working with a management company that looks after these properties to a high standard, has cleaning teams going in all the time, make sure there's always eyes on the property, then it's going to be kept to a good standard and your asset and investment is protected.
Yeah, just to add to that as well, if we get a lot of landlords coming through to Evolve Stays that are got the property on the market for sale. Now, similar to what you just mentioned, because the market's not great in terms of conditions from a selling perspective, properties are not selling for that much right now. Landlords feel pressured because they don't want to rent long term, because they want to sell the property, they feel pressured to accept a rate that they're not happy for. So if they put it on short-term rentals, because they get the flexibility, they know they've got income coming in, they're not tied into a long-term contract, they can kind of keep the property on the market for a little bit longer, wait for the right investor or the right buyer to come in and accept the price that they're happy with. Because a lot of investors and a lot of property owners, they feel pressured to sell the property because they're empty. They don't want to commit to a long-term tenant. So now they work with Evolve Stays and they've got the full flexibility to at least earn a bit of cash while they're moving out or while they're moving overseas, and then they don't feel pressured to accept a price that they're not happy with, and they can come back.
Enjoy the properties or bring their family, friends, whoever they want to bring. I think ultimately it's important what Kieran just said is that you speak to the right people, you get ideas around, like Kieran said, some landlords are going to be pressured to sell, maybe they don't want it at the right time, but there's options to explore.
Yeah.
Whenever investors come to us, we've helped some of our investors refinance their homes, other buy-to-let properties they have, to pull money out to then go and buy more investment properties. I spoke to one investor recently and he got told by an agent to sell his property to get money back to buy a new one. This is a fully paid off house. He was at the mercy of that agent because he didn't have the kind of knowledge, he didn't have the conversations. And he called me and told me about this. And he could have refinanced his home, pulled that money out and put it into new investments. And that's what his plan was.
Nice.
He sold the house at a bad time in the market, got less than he wanted to. And then he was stuck with the cash and he didn't have the investment. And that's when he reached out to us saying he wanted to get the investment. But I think ultimately it's these landlords, property entrepreneurs, whoever you are, there's different strategies and different options based off your opinion, based off your circumstance, So you have to come speak to people like ourselves at Evolve and have these conversations. There's always options to explore before taking a risk and jumping at something you really might not want to do.
Yeah, well, I'd say, to be honest with you, the convenience and the flexibility is more of a motivator than income when it comes to landlords at Evolve Stays. We get a lot of landlords that are money motivated, of course, they're investors. So a lot of the time it is just about what's on the bottom line. So what we do in that situation, we'd run the analysis, we give them a full forecast in terms of what they can expect to make as an average across the year, but then broken down into seasons as well. So for example, January, February, March, they're the slowest months of the year. You can expect that base price, that average rate, to be about 15 to sometimes 35% lower. And then vice versa in the summer periods, June, July, August, it's that 15 to 35% higher. Q4, it levels off at the base rate. And then the landlords the investors can make an informed decision on whether they want to move forward or not. But it's not all about the money all of the time. These investors want more flexibility, more control, and just peace of mind that the property's looked after. They can come back, they can use it whenever they want. If they go overseas, live in Spain for winter, come back in summer, they can do that. We've got loads of landlords like that. We've got a landlord that's gone to Saudi, comes back to the UK in summer. We've got multiple landlords like that. It's not just about the money. It's just a common misconception people have.
That's it. It's giving people flexibility. And I think ultimately it's giving people choice, landlord's choice. I think a lot of landlords that are selling at the moment are the ones that bought properties for dirt cheap back in the day. They're sat and now they're selling at the moment because they're not getting the money they want. But nowadays with these different strategies and working with the right teams is, as a property entrepreneur, no matter what strategy you go into, but you've got an option now. So it's about having these conversations, working with the right people that you align with, people that you trust, and tell you what you need to hear. And you've got choice and options. So it's always worth having these conversations before you're making decisions. Have conversations, have discovery calls with people like ourselves, and explore your options, because we're here to help end of the day. So have these conversations, and we might be able to help you out, might be able to work with you, we might be able to recommend something else, but there's always going to be some options worth exploring.
I'll just go off data. They can be quoted higher through other management companies. Now, of course, that is a sales tactic to get people over the line, people through the door, but they're not building lasting relationships with their clients. I'm not going to overquote a landlord just to get them over the line, because in 2-3 months' time, they're not going to be happy with the service and they'll go elsewhere. So when I'm speaking with landlords, I always go down the honest approach. I'm always honest, because if I'm being honest, the landlord's expectations, they're managed properly, and then the idea is we keep them on for much longer. I'd rather have a landlord on for 3 years than a few months. So when I'm speaking to landlords, it's always the honest approach. So if they do say that to me, if the other management company can prove it through the data, they've got the comparables to back it up, fair play. But most of the time, that's not the case. I go off comparables, I go off listings that are in and around this specific area, and properties that are like for like, and then I extract the data from their properties, and that's what I base my decision on. It happens all the time. It's not even like last week, it happens every single day. We get 5 to 10 landlords coming into our business, a lot on the referral side as well. And landlords are saying to me all the time, look, these rates are a little bit lower actually than what you've been quoted. I've got an example, we're onboarding a property in Stockport right now, and we quoted, I think it was about 260 a night, but another company quoted 300. And this landlord was like, I'd be silly not to go with them because they've aimed higher. So what I did, I booked in a meeting, we've gone through all the comparables, we've gone through all the data, and it's a data-driven decision rather than emotional just to get him through the door. And after that meeting, he was like, look, I'm going to go with you boys because I just feel way more confident. And that landlord, just because I've been honest, he's actually coming to Evolve Stays, and we'll probably keep him on for 2-3 years, maybe longer, until he sells the property.
But what Kieran just said there is this happens all the time in property, doesn't it? People
all the time.
Being missold, either with sourcing, people say to me they're supposed to have a source so you can get them deals at this price, cash flow in this amount. And
All money out.
Exactly, all money out, and you put 30k in, and it's like, people are saying this to get your business. But again, how we're working here at Evolve is like, we're building long-term relationships, long-term business, and we want good, honest reviews from people and making sure that we're doing a good job for our clients. And again, this is why, like Kieran said, it's about honesty and truth, because that's what a lot of landlords want. They want to be just told the truth. Not every landlord has crazy expectations where they want to make insane amounts of money. They know it's not realistic. They just want to be told the truth and work with someone who they can trust to do a good job. And that's obviously what we're here to provide.
I think they can smell through the bullshit.
I think
like very few landlords and investors can't smell through the bullshit. But I think a lot of landlords now and property investors are, they're more aware of the people over promising, under delivering. So that's why I think the honest approach when it comes to, I think in any business when it comes to sales is the best approach you can do if you want to build lasting relationships. That's what we do. If this landlord wanted to turn this into a HMO long term, he could do. So like Will mentioned, it's all about just having options, right?
That's it. There's multiple strategies to exit. You can sell it, you can use it as a HMO, get a long lease on it, you can use it like we're going to do as a BRR to SA. If you wanted to use it as a buy to let, but again, he wants the high cash flow strategies, which is why we're looking at BRR to SA. It's simple.
I think it's wallpaper, Will. We're keeping it or what?
I think so, mate.
Yeah.
Come on. That's got to do well on Airbnb, huh?
Yeah.
It's wallpaper. Look at this as well. Love you to the and back. That's nice as well. It's all about the guest experience, isn't it?
Just attention to detail, innit?
This is the quality we provide. Do you know what I mean?
So when I was talking about going above and beyond, just even like nice messages like that, just telling guests like you love them, they're gonna leave you the 5-star reviews. So
quality
we might keep that there. We might keep this wallpaper as well. Yeah. You think? And these blinds?
Yeah, there's nice tea stains. I think.
Yeah. So now this is what the previous owner was explaining. So through here, get it open. Is that I don't know if you can see, but you can actually knock this wall back, and we can get the ensuite here.
Yeah.
If the investor has got the budget for it and it makes sense from an investment standpoint.
So I think it's back to the point we made about everything we do is with communication and transparency with the investor, who we're working with. So our job is we're going to bring them options. So Kieran will go back, look on your side of having the ensuite in here. How much is the 90 rate going to increase? Is it going to be worth it? We'll look at the price on the refurb, how much that's going to add. Yeah. And also, is it going to add value to the GDV and long term? Yeah. And we bring that as an option to the landlord. We never come to the landlord or the investor, and say, here's the one option, do this. We'll always bring multiple options, different strategies, and they can pick. We'll give our opinion. That's what we do in property. So we'll give our opinion on things, but ultimately it's the investor's choice on what they want to do. So we're here to provide them with options and choices, and they can make a decision based on our feedback or not. Make that decision on what they want to use the property for. So, but it's definitely something worth exploring. I mean, an ensuite in this top room is a big room as well.
Massive, yeah.
It would be really nice.
100%. So it's like I said, contractors, they don't want to be sharing bathrooms. So the more bathrooms you can get. That's why these HMO properties do really well for contractor stays, because usually they're already set up, ready to go with ensuites in every room. So we love those properties. People don't touch them. I love them. We'd rent them as a whole property, not room by room. But yeah, it could be a good shout, but it has to make sense, right? The numbers don't lie. Yeah. And like all the decisions we make is, like I said, data driven. It's not emotional. It's all logical decisions. Does it make sense for the investor? One, have they got budget for it? And two, is it going to generate the returns, or is it just going to hold them back? So we have that conversation. I think, what do you think, ensuite? How much will that cost?
It's hard to say. I mean, it would look great. I think we see if it doesn't affect the numbers too much from an investment standpoint as well, and it will add that value. Because I mean, adding an extra bathroom to the property, I mean, it would be fantastic for adding value. It typically is. You have to make sure for the area, is that the right approach? Do other properties in this area have that? Because when it comes to sell, if we look at the properties that are listed around here, if they all have 3 bathrooms, an extra bathroom, and they sell in a lot higher or tend to be doing better, we think, well, when we're looking down the line, because of course we're always looking at exit as well. We're not sourcing a property just for short-term gain and cash flow. We're looking at eventually at some point whether his kids inherit it or he wants to sell down the line. At some point, it's going to be sold. At that point, are we doing everything we can to optimize the GDV so he gets the most from his money? Yeah. So I think if it can add that real value and it's not too much eating to the budget that our investor has, which he needs to have that conversation with, but I think it's definitely worth something exploring.
I'd love to see what next door sold for or is valued at with that, because next door, they've done that there. That's what the previous owner said. Yeah. So it'd be good to see and understand how much the GDV would go up and if it's worth it. How much, usually if you put an ensuite in a bedroom, the GDV, how much does that usually go up?
It could go up by 5,000-10,000. Depends on what we're adding to it. Again, it's like, because you're adding, like you said, an extra bathroom to the property is increasing the stay for guests, but as a property, and when you're looking to sell that, an extra bathroom on a property is a good indication of adding value. It's a good, easy way to add value, especially if other properties on the street have done it as well. Because now we're not expanding or refurbing this property past the ceiling of the street. So what you don't really want to be doing is buying a property on the street and making it the absolute best. Because when you come to sell, there's going to be a certain profile that's going to buy in that area. They might not want the best on that street, then we're going to go somewhere else. But if there's other properties, which again, we already know that, other properties on that street that have done refurbs like this, added another bathroom, added another floor, then you're going to think it's going to be worth to do that, because people who are living here will be looking for that type of thing in their property. So I do think it's definitely something worth exploring. I mean, the relationship thing is purely it's just good business. I mean, it's people buy from people. And I mean, this is not me being disingenuous. It's just, I like to have a good relationship with people. We're buying a property from her. She's made the process super smooth for us. We've done that on our side. We've had a good relationship.
Yeah.
There's no need for me not to do that. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
And it's just good business. We're working with people that I get along with it anyway. I've visited the property 4 or 5 times. Anyway, so I've been to the property a lot, making sure that it's in the right condition. We know refurb, etc. But she's a really nice person. We had a good relationship, and it's just a good business. I don't really see why you wouldn't do it personally, but I think it's just a representation of how we work as the brand and how Evolve is. But yeah, she's been great to work with. We got this property off market, so this wasn't on the market. We got brought to us from our network. And we ultimately knew our investor came on at the perfect time. So we knew this was going to be a great property for him because we bring on the investor, we know their criteria before we get looking for a property. So we knew his criteria anyway. We brought this property and we thought, I mean, fantastic. Again, we went to did due diligence, came to look at it 2-3 times and negotiated on purchase price, got that purchase price we wanted. And we've had a great relationship with the seller. She moved on. I think she wanted her mum's getting older now. She wants a bathroom downstairs, and annex as well, so her mum can move into the property with her, which is fantastic for her. And I think we've just helped make that process smoother and as seamless as possible. She hasn't got agents coming in and doing 20. I mean, in Salford, you're going to get a lot of viewings as well. There's demand here, loads of viewings. She's really busy with work. She flies out the country quite a lot. She works in events. So she was in Saudi Arabia last week. She's going to Malta in 2 weeks. So we're also working around her schedule. So we're trying to make that process as easy as possible. The way these guys do with the landlords and making it flexible for them. It's our duty as the sources, as the buyers, representing the buyers, to make sure that the process for the seller is as smooth as possible. Because we're not just looking after the investors, but also we want to do a good job for the seller. And that's why even just giving her flowers, it's not much, it's a gesture. You go to the shop, stop on the way here and you pick up a little gift, but it's the thought, it's a nice gesture of good business.
With this seller, like when we got here, she was like showing us around the property, like going above and beyond, showing us where everything is, told us about the ensuite, and just gave the story about the property. And like that's why I think it's great from Will to go above and beyond for the client, for the seller, because you never know, she might refer us into another seller at some point. It's just all about building those relationships. And the seller's like, she's been here 13 years, so it's obviously very hard to let this property go. So we don't want to come in and just not recognise that. So I think like just the goodwill gesture, getting her some flowers, making it as smooth as possible for her, has made this process even easier. Because you never know with these sellers, like been here 13 years, got friends, got the community, you know, they might change their mind.
Of course.
You just want to make it as streamlined as possible for the sellers, and that's what they not necessarily would have got with an estate agent. And we've got the office down the road in Spinningfields. Will's been here 3-4 times, building that relationship with the client. So yeah, it's just made it a lot more streamlined than what it would have been.
Yeah, great. And that's the thing with the off market as well. You can really build a strong relationship with the sellers, or like because. When you're with an agent, you're dealing with the agent. But with this one, because it's off market, it's a bit closer to heart for all of us as well, because we're
for sure.
seeing the investor. She's the one showing us around. She's the one we're negotiating with. She's the one we're speaking to every day. I'm messaging her, chasing information. We're both going back and forth, chasing solicitors, the usual business. But it's building that real relationship. And that's another great thing about the off market deals. It's not always about the purchase price and getting a good deal off market, but it's been able to build a strong relationship. And I think in business, full stop, property massively, but business is, if you can build strong relationships with people, one, it's great for your brand and you personally, but it's just good business. And I don't really see why you wouldn't do that. I mean, just don't get me wrong, there's a lot of, we work with agents all the time. There's loads of really great agents that move quickly. What it does do is that chain of communication is shortened now. So instead of me to an agent to the seller, it's just me straight to the seller.
Put them in.
So it's not that it's better or worse. Like Kieran said, there's lots of different options for everything. Not that one thing's better than the other, but it's circumstantial. And in this circumstance, the chain of communication is shorter. So if I need anything from the seller, I can just message her, I've got a number, I just call her, we have a conversation. Rather than me having to go through the seller. We're going through a property at the moment, it's a company that's selling the property. So the chain of communication is me to the agent to the company representative to the company. So conversation there is literally, it takes days or sometimes weeks just for an email to go one way. And this is, I mean, she was busy all the time flying away to different countries and that doing business, but she replies within the hour. Most times, sometimes it'd be half a day, but it's much quicker than often. That's what's great about these off-market deals as well, building them relationships, but it's quicker communication. So our investors, they wanted to come see the property, which we're always open to, of course. Some investors don't want to see the property, do they? And but so this investor wanted to see the property. We introduced the seller to the investor. They had a good chat. We had to sit down in the conversation. So it's just back to relationships. That's all it is. It's building strong relationships. The seller knows who they're buying from, what they're getting into, and they're more confident and secure in their investment. And also from our part, we know that if they're happy with the seller, they've come to see the property, they're happy with the purchase, then we've done our job correctly.
Yeah. Well, I talk about as well the fact that everything we do is bespoke.
Yeah,
so we don't reach out to agents, we don't go off market and get a property at a good rate and just send it to all of our investors and hope it sticks. Like, everything that we do is bespoke. Like, you could probably talk a bit more about the onboarding when we deal criteria, and then we go out and find properties specifically for them. And that's exactly what we did here for this investor.
Well, it's almost a consulting service, isn't it?
Exactly.
We find that Kieran talks about it a lot. Find the pain points. What's the circumstance of the landlord, the seller, the investor, whatever it is, because property is not a one size fits all. It's circumstantial, and the amount of people you have spoke to as well, and myself, and they come to you with different scenarios, different problems that I didn't even know was a thing. But they come to us, and it's our job to say, right, this at Evolve, we can help you with as much as we can. This is what we can do to help you. And that's that bespoke package we offer. It's not we don't want to send random properties out to people. It's, what is your pain point? What's your problem? What are you trying to achieve? Let's reverse engineer that and see if we can help.
Yeah.
If we can help, we can align. We present the idea to you. Right, let's get you onboarded. Come on board, work with us, and then we'll build that criteria out for you, and then go and help you achieve what you're looking to achieve. I think that's why it's a nicer process, which also I think it's why we have a good relationship with all the landlords we work with, the investors we work with, because we're caring about their outcome. It's not just a cash grab for us. We're looking to do good business, build long-term relationships, and really help them in the long term. So
it's not a one size fits all.
Not at all.
We don't get a property, send it to a big email list and see if we can sell it. It's not what we do. Everything we do is fully bespoke. It makes the process super streamlined, one for the investor, but two for us as well. We've got a list of all of our clients, their exact criteria, and it makes it nice and streamlined for yourself to go and find the property. Rather than just trying to hunt for anything and send it out, we don't do that. It's very bespoke. We are very honest. A lot of investors do approach us with high expectations, and if they've got super high expectations, then we don't necessarily work together. We've got our standards, we've got our returns, we've got our types of properties, we've got our areas that we focus on. So unless an investor's aligned with that, we don't necessarily work with them either. Exactly. We only work with a handful of investors at one time, but also investors that are aligned with our vision and what properties we do source and what properties we find. So that just ties into the honest approach. But yeah, this was fully bespoke for the client. You literally source, manage, refurb, can do everything.
It is sick to be fair, isn't it?
But like, this is like, it's crucial that we are just always honest, professional. We're not here to fucking money grab and work with anyone. Like, we just want to work with a set amount of investors. Like, for example, this investor's got a business, he's got £1 million to invest in property. When we go and refinance this deal, and when we refinance these other properties, he's going to buy more through us. And that's the whole point, that we don't want to work with anybody, everybody who's got a bit of cash. Like, we only work with a set amount of people that align with our vision. And you only need 10 investors in your books that you get repeat business from, portfolio investors, just like this one, and you've got a solid business. Of course. And that's what we want to build.
I mean, it's like a reason we do these kind of videos is we have a lot of investors that will watch the content. They'll see the process. This is behind the scenes. This is what we do. This is like a little day in the life almost. We come into these properties, we're viewing them, we're running the numbers, we come and see them, and it's a relationship we have with our investors. We bring that on. It's practical, it's hands-on. It can be from the first they might have seen is somewhere on YouTube, like the Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever it is, word of mouth. And we have that first initial conversation. It might just be a phone call, 5-minute phone call. Then it can go into a Zoom call, we have a conversation like that. A lot of our investors, they want to meet in person. We have the office in Manchester, office in Leeds, and we travel up and down the country for different reasons and meet investors. I mean, we're in London next week, I think yourself. George is meeting some investors on Thursday or something next week. So when we're traveling as well, we fit time in to meet these investors in person, because I think we can say whatever on the camera, people can say whatever on the phone, but when you're meeting people in person, and we hope anyone who sees this that wouldn't meet us, they can see what we say with conviction because we mean it. This isn't like a facade, it's not for a camera. Everything we're saying to you right now is what we mean and how we act, and that goes through bringing the investors on, to onboarding them and building that relationship. And we just even communication every day with our investors. Some of our investors don't really want to speak too much. They literally, there might be one message a week, won't it? I bet the landlords are the same. One message. Some investors, we have conversations every day. But again, it's depending on what the investors want, our relationship with the investor. But we're always going to have truthful with the investors, always going to have honesty and build a relationship that they want and that what we want as well. Like Kieran said, we want to align with who we work with. We don't accept working with everyone and anyone. We have some people though, we're not biased at all. Some people come in wanting one property. Some people come in like this investor who's taken on 4 with us right now. Wants to know that, and he's already got 3 properties that he's bought anyway. So we're not biased, but it's more important to us is the do they align with us? Do they align with our goals? Do they fit in our long-term strategy? And can we build a good relationship with them? Because it's a two-way street as well. We're providing a service, but we need things from the investors too. Good communication, speed on completion and transaction, good transparency with the landlord on your side. So we need investors we can work with, because if we have a strong relationship with our investors, we can do better business. We make more money for the investor. It's a win-win on both sides. And that's what we really try and push.
Yeah, we've got investors that don't want to away from us.
No,
they want to say, I want this property, these returns in this area. We go and find it, and we complete.
Yeah.
They don't even want to see the property. They don't want to speak to us. But whereas a few investors, and we're open to this as well, they come on the viewings with us sometimes. They go and view the properties before they purchase them. We're in WhatsApp group chats. They come in the office for a coffee, and we'll work with any type of investor. Whatever relationship they want with us, we'll be able to manage. And we're happy with that.
So quick breakthrough for the numbers, and we've just been through the property, had a look at the refurb, what it's going to take. So you guys have obviously seen the property now. Quick breakdown of the numbers. So for this one, again off market, so we negotiated with the direct to the vendor for this one. We've got this agreed at 242,500. I think initially she wanted 260, but we came in with certainty, speed, used that a bit of a leverage and got that purchase price down for our investor, which is fantastic. Yeah. We're expecting about a 275 GDV. After cosmetic refurb, as you see in the property, needs carpets throughout, redecoration throughout, snagging, and then obviously, of course, we're going to get to the staging. But again, this is what we're expecting. And then we move on to the net rental for this one. So this is really strong because it's the BRR to SA, and this typical AST, this would probably do 1,455, 1,500 a month. This is going to now net our investor 1,500 a month. After that's OTA fees, that's mortgage repayments, that's after bills and insurance. So it's going to be a really strong cash flowing property for our investor. And again, that's why I look for the SA route. It's a bit more budget, so I think his total cash outlay was just shy of 100K for this one. Yeah. So we needed more than our average investor, but because he's able to stretch our budget a bit further, we can now look into strategies bringing him a cash flow of 1,500 a month net that we're expecting every single month. And I think the money's left in after refinance, he'll make that money back in about 4 years, I think we're expecting. Nice. So I mean, it's a very, very strong deal for this investor, and I think he's going to put that money in to the next one. He's got 3 more going into conveyancing, going through to completion now, so he's going to use that money, reinvest, get another one, and keep
to the next.
Keep scaling that portfolio.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to see how this one gets on. If you're a property investor, you've got a portfolio of properties, or you've got a bit of cash sat in the bank, you're looking to make that work, maybe you've not got the time, you've not got the knowledge or the network to go and source your own properties, just give us a call, just reach out. We'll put the link in the description where you can watch a short video explaining how we operate. Hopefully you've got a good idea today of how that all works. You can book in a free consultation with one of our business partners, with Will, and yeah, we could just see if it's a good fit to work together. So yeah, link will be in the description.